Hi friends, erika.tesla here. Welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and if this is your first time visiting my channel, thank you so much for deciding to click on this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Nomad Cosmetics New Zealand Stargazing palette. This is the box that the palette comes in, and on the back we have the shades, and I don't know if you can see from the camera, but some of the shades that are like the duochrome, multichrome shades have this really pretty iridescent feature that they decided to print on the box, which I think is really cool. And so just to tell you a little bit about this palette, this contains 9 mattes, 6 multichromes, and they are inspired by the out of this world stargazing in New Zealand. And as you know, Nomad Cosmetics is a destination inspired brand. And for this particular palette, they decided to focus on the dark sky nation. The coordinates are the Southern Cross and the inspiration is the cosmos. And when I saw the hints for this, I thought, are they leaving Earth? Like, what is happening? Because they were like, guess where we're going. And you know, I know there are brands that focus more on like outer space stuff, so I was confused, and I think I commented on one of the posts that I am not good at guessing, but I'm definitely going to buy this because if you take a look at these shades, they are absolutely stunning. I was really just blown away by this color story, and that is a matter of just my preference because I love shades like these, and I love playing with jewel tones. I love purples, I love blues, and this has a lovely assortment of those colors along with some very practical grounding matte shades that you would need. And so this is a palette that I think is very interesting, but also gives you the practical colors and finishes that you need to do a complete look. Of course, you can bring other colors in, but if you don't have that option and this is the one palette that you want to use for the day, you can do that. You have these neutral tones, you have a little bit of blue, you've got the black shade for liner. So you have numerous options with this palette, and I think I was just really drawn to the versatility of this particular palette. In addition to it being a beautiful color story, I think they did a really nice job with the color placement in the palette. And then the background itself is really pretty. You've got this celestial looking background in the palette. So I did get an info sheet to just to tell you a little bit about the palette. We got this really cool postcard with the constellations on here that are in this iridescent finish. Let's see. So the palette, each palette usually supports a cause. So this particular palette is supporting the DarkSky International organization that works to restore the nighttime environment and protect habitats from light pollution. And I can appreciate that because I do live in a major metropolitan area. And if it's a cloudy night, it weirdly holds the light in. So you can see the clouds at night sometimes because it's a very bright area. And that's just a function of where we live. It's a very densely populated metropolitan area, but it is nice when you go away to be able to experience like the actual sky and the stars. So when we're lucky enough to have clear nights, we do have a telescope that my husband got for our kids, and we've been able to see some really beautiful things in the sky. And I really appreciate that in other parts of the world there are organizations protecting those special spaces. So I think that this is such an amazing cause. I think the palette retails for $59. I may be mistaken, but I will link that information in the description box. And as far as other information, I did receive this palette in the mail from Nomad on the launch day. So it's already available, and it is not limited edition. So it will be available for at least a year, or at least the remainder of 2024, which is fantastic. So if you are trying to decide, because there are a lot of makeup releases that are popping up right now, and you're still trying to decide, you have a little bit of time. So there's no pressure. I know for me this year, I've made it a goal to really take stock of what I already have, take time to enjoy what I have, So I'm not in a rush to buy every single release, but I will tell you this is one that was going to be on my list for 2024. So when Nomad reached out to me and offered to send me this palette, can I tell you, I was so excited. I was absolutely thrilled. And I just want to say thank you to Nomad for sending this palette my way. I've been having a lot of fun swatching and playing with this, with the colors and taking pictures. I did take a few pictures of the palette while it was still pristine before I dug my fingers in here and messed up some of the really beautiful imprintations. I don't know if that's a word. Imprints, embossing. There's so many other words. I need a thesaurus. But anyway, yeah, some of the duochrome shades, I messed up the beautiful embossing, but I did take some pictures of them before I went ahead and dug in with this palette. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys some swatches and I'm going to do a tutorial, and then I'm just going to share briefly a few thoughts, my first impressions on this palette and what I think about it. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts as well in the comments as well, what you think about this one. So let's go ahead and get into the swatches. I'm going to do some live swatching with you guys and you can tell me what you think about these colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and live swatch this palette. I might have a little bit of shimmer on my hands, but it should not interfere with the actual colors of the palette. So I'm going to go across and I'm going to do the swatches this way for you guys so you can see. So this is the shade DarkSky Nation. It is this beautiful black matte shade, and I personally do like blacks and palettes. I know that they're not for everyone, but for me, especially having like a medium skin tone, which gets a little bit deeper in the summertime, I find blacks to be really useful. I like to line my eyes in black. I have a black wing on with this look. So I'm gonna swipe this and oh wow, that is going on like it's charcoal, guys. Like that is such a beautiful, deep, rich, matte black. That is fantastic. I did not use this particular shade for my eye look today, but this definitely has to go on my eyes. The next shade I'm going to swatch for you is the shade Carter Observatory, which is a navy shade. And this is a first swipe. It's very pigmented, and I'm going to swipe one more time so you can see the color building. That is really, really gorgeous. So far, I'm really impressed. The next shade is one of the multi-chromes, guys. This is the Carina. This is the shade Carina Nebula. And that is really stunning. It looks kind of like a gold in the pan, like an olivey kind of burnished gold in the pan. But as you can see, it has this really pretty shift. I'm going to try to see if I could like turn my hand so you can see how it looks in different angles. But that is really beautiful. Then we have one of the shades I did use in this eye look. This is the shade Auckland Stardome. And that is such a pretty pink. If you're looking for your Valentine's looks, there you go. Such a stunning pink matte. And then the last shade in this row is Ayuraki Mackenzie. And we're going to swipe that one as well. Beautifully pigmented. And I'm going to swipe it one more time so you can see that this builds up. This is a very rich color. So this is the first row of the palette. I'm going to put my hand in front of my face so my camera doesn't focus on the wrong thing. But this is the first row. And these colors are right up my alley. This row right here, you could do a look. Moving on to the second row, we have TIK TOK Stargazing, which is a oh my gosh, TIK TOK. Look at these fibers on my finger. Okay, we have TIK TOK Stargazing, which is a different shade of blue. This is the first swipe. I'm going to go in with one more swipe of this color so you can see how pigmented and buildable this is. Then we're going to go in with the next multi-chrome. This is the shade Milky Way, which is really stunning. I think these two layered together would be really pretty. Then we're gonna go in with the shade The Cosmos. I'm already thinking of a look that I want to do with these three shades. This is The Cosmos. I don't know about you guys, I love gray eyeshadows. I'm a big fan of gray, cool tones. Then we have our third multi-chrome. This is called Jewel Box, which is the stunning gold color. And I'm bringing it. This one is softer on me, but stunning nonetheless. And finally in this row, we have the shade Southern Lights, which is this beautiful pink. It's a little more peachy than Auckland Stardome. And I think it's like just this really perfect mid-tone transition shade, at least on my skin tone. I used it as the base layer for this look, and I'm really happy with how it applied. I've mentioned in past videos that sometimes with mattes, the formulas can drag across textured lids. This was really smooth, and I was really happy with how this particular shade applied. I'm excited to try the other ones, but this is the second row. Okay, so the last row, we have Southern Cross. Easily one of my most favorite shades in this palette, although I'm loving all the shades. Look at that, that just looks wet. Then we have Tongariro Night Hike, which is this really stunning matte. Very neutral, it's very neutral. And I discovered recently, I think in my opinion, I have a neutral undertone. So I like shades like this, especially in the crease. And I'm just trying to build it up so you guys can really appreciate it. But I know that this is gonna look stunning on the eye. I haven't tried it on the eye yet, but I really like that shade. And then we have Aurora Australis, which I have as a highlight on my face. I applied a little bit on the cheek and then on the brow bone. And so it's a more delicate, softer pink duochrome shade. A little touch icy, really, really soft. So if you're looking for a more delicate finish on the eyes, that is a really beautiful one. Then we have Queenstown Skyline. Also a very lovely matte if you're looking for a lighter matte. And the last shade in this row and in this palette, Magellanic Clouds. This is really pretty. This shade, for whatever reason, kind of reminds me of like, do you guys remember like those orange creamsicles? So there's like a little bit of like orangey vanilla iridescence to this that I think is really, really pretty. And so yeah, this is the final row of the shades. I'm gonna post more swatches on my social media, so if I manage to get that up before this video, I will link that as well if you just want to see more swatches related to this palette. But I overall really have to reaffirm that I like this color story so much. You have a great mix of deep tones, softer tones, lighter tones, the different finishes. I think that Nomad did a really good job getting the balance right with this palette, in my personal opinion. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial for this eye look, and then again I'll come back and share my final thoughts. We're going to start with the shade Southern Lights here, which is this medium toned pink, and I'm going to just apply that all over the lid. And as you can see, so I have on just like a concealer base. I used the Benefit concealer, and it's, I forget the shade name, but it's in a shade that basically matches my skin tone, so it doesn't really have too much contrast from my base. But this is blending out really nicely. This is a really nice formula. I have one other Nomad Cosmetics palette. I have the Royal Europe palette, and I admittedly have not used that one as much as I've wanted to. Actually, last year I just didn't get to dip into a lot of my palettes, unfortunately, because I just had a lot going on with finishing up school and family stuff. But this is really nice. I really like how that went on. It's very smooth. I did not have to, you know, really push the color in too much. Like, it's blending out really, really nicely. And so I'm gonna do that on the other eye and then do the next part of the eye look. Okay, so I have the shade Southern Lights on both eyes right now, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Auckland Stardome, which is a deeper pink. And I'm just motivated to do something more pinky purpley. My last video I did more blue tones, and so I was really drawn to some of the pinky shades in here. And I'm going in with my What's Up Beauty R102 brush. I'm gonna tap a little bit of it off just so I can build up. And I'm tapping Auckland Stardome into the outer V of my lid here. And you know, for first impression, like, I'm really impressed with how smoothly these shades are going on. And it also could be the brushes too. I'm using these What's Up Beauty brushes, which are really fantastic. And they are goat hair. They're ethically sourced goat hair brushes. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I assume like that means that they probably just brush the hairs from the goats and somehow process it to go into the brush. I will have to do more research on that. So please don't quote me on that, guys. I'm not a specialist, but I will say I do like these brushes, and I love how this color is going on right now. This is really, really pretty, and it's blending really nicely. So these brushes are playing really well with this formula. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side and come back with the next color. Okay, I paused a second to make sure that I pronounce this shade name right. It's Airaki Mackenzie. It's this really gorgeous purple shade, and I do apologize if I'm still not pronouncing it exactly correctly, but I'm gonna go in with the What's Up Beauty R108 brush. It's a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm gonna layer that on top of the Auckland Stardome shade. And I'm gonna pack this one in because I can see that if you look and see, like, and this is not the palette, this is me. I have wrinkles, guys. It's so hard to see them on camera, which is kind of merciful, but it is in real life something that I contend with. So I'm gonna blend that in. It's still such a pretty shade, and I love purples, guys. I love my purple eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna tap that in until I can build it up to the intensity that I want it to be. I do have drier lids, so sometimes that can be a challenge for me in terms of eyeshadow application, and I'm trying to combat that a little bit and keep my lids more moisturized. But it is winter here, guys. Like, it is so cold. Yesterday the high in our area was 28 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm battling the cold weather on top of already drier skin, and I am determined to get this in here. But it is really pretty. it's building really nicely. I'm super impressed with these formulas, but I'm gonna get this in here because I really want this shade to work for me. And I'm tapping it in and blending it in, which is what I do when I'm working with certain matte shades. I have to say the Southern Lights and Auckland Stardome colors, maybe just because they're more mid-tone shades and the formulation is different, apply a little bit easier, but this is still going on. It's still letting me layer and build, and I think it's gonna come together in the end, especially once I do liner and lashes. Like this skin here right along the lash line for me is just, that's my personal challenge that I am working through in person. I'm liking how this is going. I do have, again, this kind of shiny texture on the lid that I am working through, but that's more me than the shadows. So I'm just blending out across the lid as well, because I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna end up doing kind of a semi cut crease situation, but I'm trying to diffuse the intensity as I work my way in. I've noticed that I like when it's not too dark on the inner corner. Like if you have deeper set eyes, I just find that sometimes the deeper shades can overpower the eyes and close them off a little bit. Weirdly, I don't feel that way about smoky eyes, but I guess it just depends on the kind of look that I'm going for. So I just took a little bit of product off the brush and I'm blending. And I think that's the key for me, at least, to colorful looks, is to just be patient and to blend. I think that with this palette, if you wanted something really easy, one and done, you could probably achieve that with one of the multi-chrome shades that is in the palette. And if you're trying to do something a little more intricate, more colorful, I just say be patient and keep on blending and it will come together. And so I'm liking how this is coming together so far. And I'm gonna keep blending these shades together. I might go back in with either Southern Lights or Auckland Stardome as needed, but so far they are really blending together nicely. Like that is a pretty nice blend. I might go back out around here and just diffuse the color a little bit more, but it's coming together so far. So I'm gonna keep blending this and do the same thing on this eye and come back with the next shade. Okay guys, my next challenge is figuring out which of these shimmers should go on the eye. This is looking promising. Which one is this? This is, how am I mixing them up? Is that Southern Cross? I think this might be Southern Cross. And then we have, well, I'm just gonna get it wrong, but I know this one's Milky Way. Really pretty. That will look stunning on like a kind of bluey purpley look. But these are really, really pretty. I'm gonna come back with the decision. I will come back with the decision. Southern Cross, which is this beautiful shade right here, is giving me the purpley vibes that I want, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my finger to apply it. That's usually, I think, how it's recommended to apply multi-chromes, but I'm gonna just like start by pressing it on and then swiping. So I'm gonna press it and swipe it, and that is absolutely gorgeous. So again, this is Southern Cross being applied with the finger, and I'm trying to press it in to get into those little creases and crevices of the eyelid. And I think the warmth of the finger too kind of helps to make the formulation more malleable and work its way in. That's so pretty, guys. I'm gonna go in and apply it on the other side as well. And if you see me looking down, it's because I have a mirror in front of me, and so I'm just trying to see where to place the eyeshadow. But this is such a pretty foily multichrome shade. I really, really like it. It looks, it's like purple and shifts green. So the camera doesn't do, see, the camera does not do the multi-chromes justice, but it is really, really gorgeous in person. And then what I want to do is go in with Aurora Australis, which is this shade here. It feels kind of creamy, almost like, yeah, it's like a very smooth, creamy texture. And I think that that's going to be really pretty on the inner corner. I'm a sucker for an inner corner highlight, guys. Like I don't know. I think I mentioned in my last video, I don't know if it's cool or not, but I like how it looks. And again, if you, like, I know the corners of my eyes from my observation look a little bit deeper set. So this kind of brings my eye forward a little bit and provides that optical illusion that I don't have those dips in the corner. And I just find that it kind of wakes the eye up, and I'm not really too concerned again right now with like how neat this is because I don't have any other makeup on and I can clean this up, so I'm not really stressing about that too much. But I think what I'm gonna do, I wanna line the eye in black. I wanna do a black kind of like sultry liner. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna come back and apply the shades that I wanna use on the bottom part of the lid. Okay, so I put on a little bit of concealer, guys, just because I do have dark circles under my eyes, maybe not super extreme, but noticeable. So I didn't want that to mute the color. So I basically just put a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape concealer under the eye. And I'm gonna go in with the shade Southern Lights again, which is that very pretty medium pink color. And I'm using this What's Up Beauty R106 brush to diffuse some color under the eye. And I'm gonna layer this with the same colors that I did on the top. So I'm gonna go in with Auckland Stardome and Aoraki McKenzie again, but on the bottom lid. And so this, go in with a little bit of a smaller brush. This is a Sigma Pencil E30, and I'm going to take Auckland Stardome and put that on top of Southern Lights. And these layer really nicely with each other. They build really well together. And I'm going to use my color switch and then take the same pencil brush, the tip of this pencil brush, and go in with Aoraki McKenzie and connect that to the top part of the look and kind of blend that down. And I'm seeing that with this purple shade, I do need to build it. But I think that's a good thing too, because sometimes it can be a lot with these deeper shades to just like immediately have full color. The fact that you can build the shades up, I think it makes the shades more user friendly. So I'm just slowly building that up, and you can see the difference here between the two. And yeah, I like how this is coming out so far. So once I'm done applying this purple, I'm going to apply some liner, mascara, and lashes. And I'm going to finish my face, and I will come back and share some of my first impressions of this palette. This is the finished look, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I was really wanting to go for a more pinky, purpley vibe since I've been wearing a lot of blues, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's fun to just switch things up. And I think the next look that I do with this palette will probably touch into some of the other colors and some of the really pretty blue tones that are in here. There's this gorgeous gray called the Cosmos in here that I cannot wait to play with. At some point, I will probably post some more short form content with more looks, but I think for a first look, this came out really, really pretty. I love purple and pink with brown eyes, and I like how this look came out. And just to, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, and I'll give you guys some details on some of the other products I use. So I used on my cheeks the Yummy Skin Rosé and Brunch blush from Danessa Myricks. And then for my lips, I used Soulful lip liner from LYS Beauty. And from YSL Beauty, I used the Rouge Volupté Shine in number 44. And I can't remember the actual name of it, but I will be sure to link the names of the products and links to them in the description box. So overall, just your typical kind of purple eye nude lip situation, but I really like how it turned out, and I'm really pleased with the performance of the palette. And just to get into my first impressions, first of all, when I saw this palette, I was immediately drawn to the color story, and I thought, no matter what, I'm going to pick this up. So I was really appreciative of Nomad Cosmetics reaching out and saying, hey, would you like us to send this to you? And of course I was like, yeah. So I was absolutely thrilled. And this palette does evoke starry skies and just, you know, beautiful starry tones. It is otherworldly, and I think you can get bold looks, you can get more ethereal looks. They did a nice job of balancing the matte to special finish ratio. Sometimes when a palette is all shimmers, you have to pull things in, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I think that this makes the palette very versatile and one that can just stand alone as a product that you use by itself. And we have the DarkSky Nation, so you have multiple neutral colors in here that can anchor your look, and I think that that makes it really attractive. But then you have the other colorful mattes like TIK TOK Stargazing, Carter Observatory, and Auckland Stardome, and Aoraki Mackenzie, which is like, I really love purples, so I'm really excited that there is a really bold purple matte in here that is buildable, I will add. And so I'm looking forward to trying some of these other shades, and just, you know, from swatching the multi-chromes and duochromes in here, just overall a really stunning palette. I am very impressed with how Nomad Cosmetics is starting out their year with this particular palette, and I'm excited to see more from them and interested to see what else they come out with. For comparison's sake, I do have the Royal Europe palette, and I'm going to pull that out for you guys really quickly just so you can see them side by side. Okay, so here is the Royal Europe palette, which came out last year, and here we have it with the New Zealand Stargazing palette. So they're different. There are some similarities, but there's some differences. So there is a purple in Royal Europe, but it is not the same purple that you're going to get in New Zealand Stargazing. And there are multi-chromes, but again, they're really different. This kind of gives you more of a rainbow vibe, whereas these shades, they're cohesive in a different way. They're not a rainbow, but I would say it's more tonal. You have these really beautiful jewel tones and some really pretty toppers here. So I'm going to throw up a couple of swatches on my hand just so you guys can see the difference. So here on the top, I have the shades from the Royal Europe palette. That were the duochrome multi-chromes. And then on the bottom, here we have the New Zealand Stargazing shades. So I kind of tried my best to put shades that were close to each other next to each other, but you can see they're totally different. And I have to say that I think the formulation from Royal Europe to the Stargazing, the New Zealand Stargazing has improved even just from the feel. But I think that this was a fantastic first effort, and plus you have like these gorgeous different tones. I need to play more with the Royal Europe palette because it really is very, very pretty. And I think it's perfect for this time of year too, just because of the jewel tones that it comes in. When I got it, I think it was more towards like the end of the summer last year. And so I ended up not pulling it out very much. But I know that it's one that I definitely want to use more. I don't have a huge Nomad Cosmetics collection, but I have to say between these two, I would say the New Zealand Stargazing one, just the feel of the multi-chromes. Really, really strong performance. They're both really, really beautiful palettes. And the fantastic thing about the New Zealand Stargazing palette is that you don't have to rush. I do believe it's going to be available for the remainder of 2024 at least. So it's not limited edition, which I think is really nice. People have time to get it. I wish that more brands would take note of that and just give, especially indie brands would take note of that, because it can be really difficult when there are numerous releases coming out for people to try to decide what they want. So I really do appreciate the approach Nomad has taken in terms of this particular release. But yes, overall I would say this is a thumbs up so far for me as far as performance. I'm very happy with how this look came out. I will be using this one a lot more. Beautiful shades. Let me know what you guys think of this palette. Let me know if it was enjoyable for you to see this tutorial, if it was helpful or inspirational to you in any way. And yeah, please make sure to like this video, leave me a comment, and if you are so inclined, please consider subscribing to my channel. It would be absolutely amazing to have you join my little corner of YouTube and chat about makeup and lifestyle things and just stuff that we really enjoy talking about. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me for this particular video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Bye.